Hey, it's Lindsay with Applied Mortgage. Thanks for tuning in to the Applied Mortgage Community Show. I'm here today with two special guests. I have Ryan from my team right here at Applied Mortgage, and I have Heather with the Blais Group at Gallagher Real Estate. We are going to be chatting all things veteran mortgages and helping veterans buy a house just in time for the 4th of July Independence holiday. I thought it was a great time to really support our veterans and those who are still serving our country too. So Ryan, can you just introduce yourself quickly for our listeners who haven't met you yet?
Sure. My name is Ryan Footit. I'm a loan officer at Applied Mortgage.
Awesome. And Heather?
I am Heather Blais with Gallagher Real Estate. I head the Blais Group, and I'm clearly in my office right now.
Awesome. And Ryan is sporting a fresh new haircut. I have to point out for those of you who met him with long hair during the pandemic. So we'll call him out on that. If you're watching on our YouTube, you can see it in real life. I think, is this your first video appearance since your haircut?
It's the big debut.
This is the debut. Awesome. And Heather is absolutely a hustler. I am so impressed seeing everything that you do, building your brand and being a young mother. I can totally resonate with that. So every day is a new obstacle and a new success story.
Yeah,
Awesome.
There as well.
Yeah. And I saw the car seats in the back of your car before, and I was just like, yep.
I don't know which way there they are.
Mom on a mission. Excellent. Well, thank you both for being here. So yeah, Ryan, we're going to just start in with Ryan to learn a little bit about a VA mortgage. If you're a veteran and want to buy a house, many people don't know that there's an awesome loan product that you can use. And then Heather has worked a lot with veterans and successfully buying houses. So she's going to speak to us on that perspective and talk about some success stories for new homeowners. So Ryan, there's a lot of kind of bad reputation around VA mortgages, and let's just sort of debunk those myths and talk about how great the product is and how helpful it is. So first of all, many people don't know that they're eligible. Who's eligible for a VA mortgage?
So people that are eligible for VA loans are veterans, reservists, National Guard, people in National Guard, and spouses of service members who have lost their life in the line of duty.
Okay. So that's a really important thing your lender should ask you, and if they don't, make sure you tell them if you fit into any of those categories. And then what does the lender need to kind of verify the eligibility?
So there's a document called a DD-214, and that's basically your ticket for the VA loan.
Great. And most lenders will then help the borrower actually provide whatever proof is needed, get the information from the VA to get what's called a certificate of eligibility. And like Ryan said, that's your ticket in the door. So what are some of the best perks of a VA mortgage?
So the number one is 0% down. So we can do 100% financing for VA loans. We don't necessarily have to do 100% financing, but that's the most common goal of the VA loan for a lot of people using it, is that they don't have to make a down payment, but you can make a down payment with a VA loan if you choose to and have the ability to.
Awesome. So 100% financing. Anything else that people should be aware of?
Yeah, so there's no monthly mortgage insurance. It's a financed mortgage insurance. So that's different than if you're getting like a conventional loan. For example, you have what is called PMI or private mortgage insurance. With the VA loan, you don't have that monthly mortgage insurance fee. It's financed over time, so it ends up being less expensive than the PMI that you pay on a monthly basis.
Awesome. So huge savings, both on the upfront cost with lower down payment and the monthly cost, it sounds like, with kind of just a cheaper way that the mortgage insurance is set up. What about closing costs? Any difference there?
There is a difference in closing costs too. So typically if you're not a veteran, you have what is called an administration fee, which is a fee that's charged by the bank or the lender in order to just do your loan. And with a VA loan, if you're a veteran, you don't have to pay that administration fee. So that's a savings there.
Awesome.
About $1,000 savings. So that's great.
Awesome. So really it sounds like an attractive product, lower down payment, lower closing costs, and potentially a lower monthly payment too, as compared to other loan options that are out there. That's great. And now over the years, and of course in this market, right, and Heather will kind of talk more about this later on, but it's a really competitive market. So a lot of times when someone's making an offer and they're presenting their offer, the seller's looking at what type of financing they're using. And, you might wonder why. Like, why does the seller really care as long as you're able to buy the house? But it's just kind of a part of the process. So, what are some things that, Ryan, you could explain that would maybe help a seller understand that the VA loan is just as good as any other financing option and maybe even better than cash?
So, with veterans, historically, they have a much better credit profile than other borrowers, and there's a much less foreclosure rate on people who have VA loans than for other types of loan programs. So they're very strong borrowers typically, and that's a great advantage to work with someone like that, other than instead of someone else that might have other issues, but they're using a conventional loan.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest myths. It's like just because a seller sees that lower down payment or no money down, it doesn't automatically mean that they're not credit worthy, right? A lot of veterans have better credit scores. They have money saved. They just don't want to put it down for their down payment on the house. So yeah, there's definitely kind of some of that stigma around it, which maybe can be solved just by understanding that even statistics show that veteran borrowers are actually better qualified than others. And then what about the appraisal standards? I've heard that's kind of other things that people get hung up on.
Yeah, so it's a common misconception that the appraisal's impossible, and if you have a VA loan, you're going to have to do things to fix the house. But they can be an issue. That is true, but it's something that you can get past too. And it's not every house is going to be an issue. They do look at the condition of the house to see if there's chipped and peeling paint, stairs that have more than 3 steps need to have a handrail installed, or cracked and broken windows would have to be replaced. But if there is an issue with the paint, for example, it doesn't mean the whole house has to be repainted. It's just the affected area that's cracked and chipping that has to be scraped, and at least one coat of paint has to be applied to that area. So it's not a total impossible thing to get past. It's just something that's a necessary thing to resolve for a VA loan if the appraiser determines it's an issue.
Awesome. So you might just need a little extra elbow grease, but that's not always a problem. And it's not unheard of for a good local reputable lender to go over and maybe help out there. So that's always an option too. So you've had a lot of success stories, Heather, with VA buyers working with veterans or people that are, I'm saying veterans, but it could be, again, someone who's still active duty, reservist, National Guard, or even the spouse, as Ryan mentioned, of someone who had served our country and sadly lost their lives. So lots of different types of people. Heather, how do you best prepare as a VA buyer in this current really competitive market?
Honestly, you prepare like any other buyer. You just have to be realistic about the number. Know that actions may have to be for your knowledge only. And what my VA buyer putting in their offer is that any repairs brought up during the VA appraisal are the buyer's responsibility. And that's where the team jumps in, the lender, the realtor. That's where we get we go and do something or order some windows.
Awesome. So that's a really great suggestion. So Heather's talking about the contingencies you can kind of write up in your offer. And of course, listen to your realtor, listen to your attorney, make sure that you're doing it in a way that makes sense for you. But that's a huge, huge help to potentially make the seller feel more comfortable, right? Because in this market, unfortunately, the seller's kind of got the upper hand, right?
They do, absolutely.
Yeah. So other than the down payment and maybe the appraisal or the inspection kind of potential issues, anything else that really comes up as a concern on the seller side of things, or are those sort of the two main ones?
Those are the two main ones. As long as you have a realtor who is knowledgeable on the buyer side to educate the listing agent, you'll be surprised how many agents come up to me and they say, I've never worked with a VA buyer. What is it? Is it like USDA? Is it like FHA? They're scared of it. So that's where you need somebody who's experienced and knows what they're doing, knows the product. You also need a lender who can call the listing agent and say, hey, they are a VA buyer, but, and go down the list of all the good things.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Really important. And Heather, just like you're saying, a good team is huge, and definitely a realtor who has worked with the product, is familiar with it, just like you, is a really big piece of the puzzle. Any particular success stories? I mean, there's absolutely nothing better than helping somebody who's served our country to then be able to buy a house, right? And have a home for their family. So any particular success stories that stand out to you recently?
I honestly close a ton of houses where the buyer hasn't even seen the house until walkthrough day. I
Wow.
do, they're either deployed overseas and I'm doing video showings or sending them videos and they're replying when they wake up in the morning. So I actually have buyers that they bought in 2019 before the crazy market. They bought from videos from Germany. And
Oh
then
my
the day
gosh.
finally see their house. They actually just listed it for sale with the team. Carly's Hatch and I are both the listing agents on that. And they are moving again, of course, military life, but they said that they wanted to list with us because they know how we are educated with VA loans and they know that we're going to take care of them with any other loan. You can handle VA and explain it to people, you can handle anything.
That's awesome. And in your experience, I think maybe another potential hiccup that sellers might be worried about is just the time frame of everything. But I mean, you're making some awesome points. Technology now, it doesn't matter where the person is. It doesn't really matter what they're doing. They can e-sign. They've got to be at the closing at least to sign the paperwork potentially. But are you seeing any problem with time frame?
Honestly, no. Even the condo association is not approved. That may be our only delay. We
Yeah.
can do, as you guys know, I'll let you get into that, but you can get the association approved or possibly do a single unit if the association isn't cooperative. So possibly be the only delay because the VA has to get involved and oversee that process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ryan, from a financing perspective, do you want to touch a little bit on the condo approval process?
Yeah, so that can be a timing issue, but like Heather's saying, getting just maybe one single unit approved instead, that can speed up the timeline potentially. That's just something to be aware when you're making offers on houses, though, is we can look up to see if it is on the approved list already. And if it is, that's great. And if it's not, then we know we have to, get that side of the process started as soon as possible if they are going to make an offer on the house or the property.
Awesome. So communication, it sounds like, again, is the name of the game. And that goes just like Heather, when you said, how can you be best prepared? Any buyer, right? You want to be best prepared and have everything, all your ducks in a row, and have a good team that's ready to work for you. So anything else specific to our veterans mortgage here that either of you wants to share?
I don't think anything specific. I mean, it's pretty much like any other loan. It's, I think it has a bad stigma because of the way things used to be, but, technology got better, appraisal, what it is. It's just a loan. So as long as you have a good team working on it, probably be your biggest obstacle in this market.
Awesome. Definitely. Sounds good. And what's the best way to contact you, Heather? If any buyer, right? You don't just work with veterans. So any buyer, any seller, anyone with questions probably, right? I'm sure you want to talk to as many people as possible. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Always texting, calling, email. I answer anyway. I'm really responsive, or try to be. If I'm in a meeting, I will call you right back. But text me is probably the best way.
Awesome. Sounds good. And Ryan, we have your contact information, but why don't you share with everybody?
Yeah, so texting, call, email. The best phone number for me is 413-695-3460. And my email is rfootit@harborone.com. HARBORONE. I didn't know.
There's a little delay on my internet for some reason, so I didn't mean to interrupt you. But thank you so much, both of you, for being here and serving our veterans, and just taking the time to be educated on the veterans loan. I mean, that's, Heather, you said it perfectly. That's the number one thing, is sometimes people just don't understand what they don't know about already. So thank you for our listeners being here, and for Ryan and Heather. And happy 4th of July to everybody too.
Thanks. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in to our Applied Mortgage Community Show. As always, if you have any mortgage-related questions, please contact our team at Applied Mortgage, 413-586-5626, or appliedmortgageteam.com. And if you want to be featured on one of our episodes, let me know. We'd love to have you.